There are plenty of documentaries available on YouTube right now. Unfortunately though, a lot of them are really bad. They're either pure clickbait, they might not be complete, and some are uploaded in really bad quality. But that being said, if you know what to look for, there are some amazing documentaries available, some of the best ones you will ever find. And I'm gonna save you all a bunch of time so you don't have to go through all of those documentaries yourself. Instead, I'm gonna give you the 5 best documentaries available on YouTube right now. Let's get started. And the first documentary on our list is called Life in a Day. It is a really cool project because it documents the life in a day of humanity all around the globe. And the really interesting part is that it is not filmed by a camera crew. Instead, it is filmed by a lot of different individuals who were willing to participate in this unique documentary. Now, a project as big as that obviously still needs a producer, and in this case it has one of the best ones in the business, Ridley Scott. And if you're thinking, this name sounds vaguely familiar, which movies did he make again? Well, here's just a couple of them. I find Life in a Day a fantastic documentary because it really encapsulates the human spirit. It succeeds to give a glimpse into what life on Earth is actually all about. All the hardship, all the good times, all the bad, all the struggles, all the laughter, all the crying, it's all in this one documentary. And in a way it even succeeds to show that we are all one people. We all have the same human experiences day in and day out. So all the fighting and all the conflicts that unfortunately are also part of humanity really seem so unnecessary. Now what's also cool about Life in a Day is that there are actually 2 movies. One was published in 2011 and the other one only recently in 2021. And they will continue to make these movies every decade just to be able to compare how life has changed in the last 10 years. I will of course put links to both of those movies in the description below. But don't you go nowhere, because I have 4 more amazing documentaries that I would like to share with you first. And the next one is simply called 13th. It is a documentary originally produced by Netflix and kindly shared by them for free on YouTube. As you can see, more than 11 million people have watched the video so far. On top of that, if you go to IMDb, you see that the rating is amazingly high. So what is this fantastic documentary about? Well, actually, it's about a rather sad topic. It's about the fact that even though the US only has 5% of the global population, 25% of all prisoners worldwide are incarcerated in the United States. That obviously is quite shocking. How could a country like the US that is as progressive and as developed possibly end up in a situation where so many people are in prison, and often unjustly so? And that's exactly what the documentary tries to explain. It goes deep into the history of the American juridical system, where the root cause lies. In fact, a lot has to do with a loophole in the 13th Amendment, which is where the documentary gets its title from. It also covers a bunch of other contributing factors, like for example the war on drugs, but I don't want to give away too much here. I'd rather have you watch the documentary yourself. It's critically acclaimed, it's more relevant than ever, so I believe everyone should watch it and see for themselves. And by the way, if you want to see more videos like this one in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel and you'll be getting more content in the future. The next documentary on our list is one of the most popular documentaries that you can find on YouTube. It's one of the best that I've ever seen. It is called AlphaGo. You might remember a few years ago when a story made headlines that for the first time in history, artificial intelligence had managed to beat a human in the ancient board game of Go. And not just any human for that matter, it was the reigning world champion. Now, to understand the magnitude of this accomplishment, you first have to understand a little bit about this game called Go. The rules in and of itself are very simple, but there are a lot of possible positions. And when I say a lot, I really mean a lot. In fact, there are more possible positions than atoms right now in the universe. So clearly, Go is a game that is as complex as it gets. Much more complex than, for example, chess. And many people, especially the ones who play Go, believe that a human could never be beaten by a computer. But it is part of the human spirit that we always try to accomplish the impossible. So a group of AI researchers from London set out to design an artificial intelligence computer that would be able to beat even the best Go players in the world. And this documentary follows their story all the way until the end, where they compete about the best player in the world, a Korean, which they challenged for several matches. Now I know what you might be thinking. You hear board games and computer engineering and it sounds like a rather nerdy story, but believe me, it isn't. Instead, it's really a story about human ingenuity and how that might look like in this new century, in this new world where artificial intelligence more and more becomes humanoid. The video itself on YouTube has more than 30 million views. The comment section is filled with people raging about how emotionally touched they were by the story. So just do me a favor, please check it out for yourself and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Alright, moving on to documentary number 4 on our list, and this one is called In the Womb. As you might have guessed from the title, it covers all 9 months of pregnancy, but what you might not have guessed is that it gives exclusive footage of the baby inside the womb. So not just the normal 2D or 3D ultrasound pictures, but actual footage from the baby within your womb. Obviously this is quite unique to be able to see, and it is so fascinating, not only for people who are currently expecting. I mean, after all, this is how we all got started, and isn't it fascinating to go back to your roots? You can learn so much about life and how fragile it is during those 1.5 hours. I have to say, I finished this documentary with a new appreciation for my own life, but also for the miracle of life itself. It's really true that we take so much for granted, which actually isn't at all. So for anyone who is currently expecting a baby, who wants to have a baby in the future, or who just wants to regain some passion for life and the miracle around it, this documentary is perfect. And last but not least, we have arrived at documentary number 4 on our list. This one is called Amazon Empire. It covers the entire story of Amazon and its founder Jeff Bezos, from its very humble beginnings all the way to now, where they basically reign the world, at least the world of e-commerce. But it's also a very critical documentary, which I really appreciate. I think if a company gets as powerful as Amazon, you have to question their motives as well as their practices. And I think it's fair to say that both have not always been the best in the past, so it is important that documentaries like this one exist. But what makes this documentary so special is that it goes from looking at the obvious to looking beyond that. In the end, it's really more about raising moral as well as philosophical questions. How do we want to treat our competitors? How do we want to treat our employees? Is it really important to always generate more revenue and more profits? Or can we at some point decide that maybe this one person has enough money? Maybe this company shouldn't own all of e-commerce? Those are questions that are not only relevant to Jeff Bezos and Amazon, but to society as a whole. Do we really all need one-day delivery time for anything we order? And what price are we willing to pay for that? All of those are questions that each and every one of us needs to answer for themselves, but the documentary does a great job of raising them. And it is one of those movies that even after it ends, you still sit there and you're reflecting about your own life, your own choices, and how you want society to look like in the future. So if you're looking for a documentary that takes a deep look at one of the most successful businesses of all times, then Amazon Empire is exactly what you're looking for. Now those were my 5 favorite free documentaries on YouTube. Obviously there are a lot more, but I think if you get started with those, you really can't go wrong. Besides that though, there are a couple of really good YouTube channels that focus exclusively on uploading high quality documentaries, and I didn't want to deprive you of those, so I'm gonna add a list of the best ones in the description below as well. And of course, if you're looking for movies that are not documentaries but also freely available on YouTube, I compiled a list of those as well, and you can find it in this video right up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.